Hey everybody, Jerry here again with a little bit of everything. Just on my way to work, so I just wanted to do a quick update about the Ford that I purchased about a week ago now. Yeah, about a week. I know a lot of you were complaining about the seatbelt. All jokes aside, though, I know I should always wear my seatbelt. The other car I was driving was a 2007 PT Cruiser, which, if you haven't put two and two together already, that car is about half the size of the car I'm driving right now. So it makes driving that car with a seatbelt extremely uncomfortable. Which is no excuse, obviously. I know I should wear a seatbelt, but, you know, gotta make do with what you have, right? So, as I'm not sure if any of you have seen the video I did about why you shouldn't buy cars off Craigslist. So basically when I bought this car, needed a few things, nothing crazy. Driver's side door wasn't opening. I felt like it needed brakes. That was what I found out in the initial test drive and inspection. Bought the car, talked the guy down from $1,100 to $900, which I thought was a fair price. I mean, it's a 13-year-old car and the odometer wasn't working when I bought it, but he swore up and down that, it had X amount of miles on it. And honestly, for $900, I really don't give a fuck. I mean, I know eventually I'm going to fix the odometer so that it reads the right mileage and, functions. But apparently this is a common fault in these vans where there's like 4 resistors that sit on the PCB. And apparently they just need to be resoldered. So something to do during the summer when, I have time and I can take like 2 days off from work where I could actually take the gauge cluster out, play with it, etc., etc. Because, I mean, to get the cluster out is not difficult, but it's something I'm going to need time with. And the past couple days have been so cold in New York that I'm like, no, I'm okay. So anyways, bought the car, found out that it was like Swiss cheese by the wheel wells in the rear. Was kind of upset. I know these things. There's reasons why I don't buy cars off Craigslist, and those are the reasons why, because it wasn't disclosed. The guy wanted to sell the car because he knows if I would have seen it, I probably still would have bought the car, but I would have probably gave him like $400 for it. So that's my mistake. I should have been more attentive. Anywho, so I posted on DSLreports.com, which is one of the forums that I have been visiting now for the past 12, 13 years, I want to say, if not more. And one user in the automotive forum you're awesome, by the way, if you ever watch these videos. He pointed out that Ford did a recall on these vans because the rust in that specific area was so bad, it caused a safety concern. Because what I didn't notice at the time was that the third row seat latches on to where that rust is. So literally, if you sit on it, it's not going to stick. It's just going to go flying back as long as you give it gas. So, I went online, I ran my VIN, and hop, skip, and jump. The recall was never done. I was like, oh, awesome. Let me bring it to Ford. So I brought it to Ford. I asked them to do the recall, and I asked them to do the New York State inspection, which they did, which passed. I asked them to do the driver's side door to get, that way I have 2 functioning doors. Sliding doors, I should say. And they did that. So they had the car for about 3 days, which, for the amount of rust that was in this car, is pretty damn good turnaround time, I would say. And given everything else I asked them to do. They gave the car's brakes a visual inspection. They said there's plenty of meat left on the pad. So I was like, all right, fine. Maybe it's just me getting used to a new car's brakes. So I was like, fine. So whatever. Cool. I get the car back. They did what was expected of them. They cut out the majority of the rust. They patched wherever there was. I think they put a new wheel well underneath the passenger side, because the passenger side was worse off than the driver's side. So that was done, which I was like, awesome. They did it. They riveted it in. So that's fixed. They never bothered putting the panels back together, nor did they bother putting the latches back on. No big deal. I'm the one that took the panels off. I'm the one that took the latches off. I'll put them back on. It ain't that big of a deal to me. So I go ahead, I put the latches back on. Haven't put the panels back on yet because I want to do a little bit of, I don't know what the word is, rust maintenance. I want to sand off all the rust really, really well, Rust-Oleum, you know, put rust protector on it, so that way it doesn't spread, because they got the majority of it, but there's still certain areas where I feel that there could be more improvement, and I'm just gonna tackle those areas. Maybe I'll Bondo them in, whatever's not filled in properly to my likings. Because again, this was a free repair done by Ford because of a recall, so they're only gonna do what gets them out of a lawsuit. So I'm not worried about it whatsoever. So I'll tackle that eventually one weekend. I need to get like a little, I don't know, milk crate to put like all my shit in, all my tools and everything. That way it's not just rolling around the car all day. But yeah, so I mean, got the car back, been driving it ever since. I'm happy. When I bought the car originally, I don't know, I'm not sure if the radio worked better or worse, because now when I listen to the radio, it's in and out. And the research that I've done states that the foggers in the rear window on the lift gate have a built-in antenna for the radio. So I'm not sure if while it was in the shop, maybe they nicked something, or, you know, that general area. But I was like, fine, forget it, whatever. You know, I can always go out, buy another radio, you know, I could always buy another antenna kit. I could always buy, I don't want to keep the original radio in this car. I want to actually put in like an aftermarket, like a JVC. I saw some really good ones for like $100 on Amazon, and was it Amazon? Yeah, Amazon. So I'm going to look into that eventually. Right now, my top priority on this car is getting the odometer fixed so that, you know, everything's kosher. I can keep track of my mileage. I can keep track to do my oil changes, which is the next thing I got to do in this car. I went to AutoZone and I ended up buying new spark plugs because I'm pretty sure it needs a tune-up. I mean, it drives fine, but I just want to make sure that I'm putting in what I need to put in so that I can get longevity out of it. Like I said, it's a 13-year-old car. I don't expect it to last me another 20 years. I would love if it did, but you know, you go into these things expecting certain things. Like, I don't expect it to last me another 20 years. I would like to get at least at a minimum 2 years out of this car. If I can get a minimum of 2 years out of this car, I will be happy. Because that will, you know, that'll take care of the investment that I put into it. So, you know, Ford did the door, which was a ripoff. I mean, the part was $65. Reasonable. The labor? The labor was like $240. What? That's ridiculous. The labor costs more than a third of this car. Insane. The labor and part costs more than a third of this car, plus tax. Plus tax. So out the door, the car, you know, out the door from Ford was like $380. I paid it, I bit my tongue, and kept it moving because the car works. And it passed inspection, which was my biggest concern. I was curious if it was or it wasn't. I mean, there's no check engine light, but 13-year-old car. You know, you go into these things on a daily thing. So, you know, that's about it. I mean, like I said, the car runs. I'm enjoying it. I'm comfortable. Seatbelt, obviously. So, you know, all I have to do now is just take care of the little minuscule things. I'm gonna put the new spark plugs I bought in, which unfortunately is a bitch and a half. From the videos I watched on YouTube and the service manuals I read, you gotta take the whole cowl apart. Like, I don't think I have the patience for that. So I'm contemplating having Ford, or having someone other than myself install the parts. Like, I'll buy the parts, I have no problem with that. But so even if I gotta pay like Ford an hour's worth of labor to do new wires, new spark plugs, ignition, maybe I'll buy an ignition coil. I mean, again, the car has nothing wrong with it, so I'm just doing preventative maintenance at this point. As always, thanks again. Have a great day.